It is race day here in the Belgian countryside, as for the first time in the IndyCar era, the Formula College World Championship takes on the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Cade Corbin, joined in the booth by the wonderful Wesley Shaw, with previous FC winner Ryan Whitlock doing our production behind the scenes. Also exciting news, for the first time in series history, rain is in the forecast. It's a very humid day up here in Spa. And again, I'm set to bring you the action here with Wesley. So Wesley, how you feeling tonight, and what are you thinking we're going to see?
Absolutely great today, Cade. It is such a wonderful day here in Belgium. We know we're a little bit cloudy compared to the usual sunny days here in the IndyCar series. I think we're going to see a lot of great racing from these drivers, especially from some of our new drivers.
Yeah, a lot of different drivers making their debut tonight. 4 of them actually out here for the first time in Formula College World Championship history. So we will have a look at them as they run. And I think what they've seen is a little bit of an opportunity here with that rain in the forecast, a very technical track, of course, a very famous circuit as well. I think they see a lot of opportunity to go out, take advantage of the chaos, and grab some positions.
Absolutely. It's going to be one heck of a race, especially when we're going up the hill, and compared to our normal circuits, it's going to be a vast difference. Racecraft here, where it's going to be completely reliant on skill.
Skill, strategy, all the factors that we typically see. We saw all of those things come into play last week at Las Vegas. That race was won by Valparaíso's Ricky Paz, who now sits atop the season-long point standings. But just 2 rounds in, third round here tonight, means that the title fight is still wide open. Qualifying has already begun for the race. That'll get wrapped up in about 5 minutes or so, and then while the drivers are warming up, we'll hit you with some track facts. But for the moment, if we could take you trackside and have a look at some of these drivers on their hot laps. Gonna look there, that is Riley Berkins, the driver from New England College, yet to complete a qualifying lap. There is R. Muhammad, a Leaf driver from Ball State. Always expect him to be really, really good on these road courses. He has won plenty of them in his time, but has yet to win on an oval. That's what's put it behind. A little bit of a slide there, a little bit of understeer. Saw the back end of that car kick out as he comes around. I think this right here is going to be probably a pretty good lap time. And yes, a 1:56.4, a little bit faster than the times that we were seeing during practice. So for the moment, R. Muhammad Alif goes to the top of the boards, but still about 5 minutes left in qualifying.
As we're kind of seeing that he's getting a little loose there coming out of that chicane. That seems to be a little bit of a problem that we might be running into later into this race. But as for qualifying, they are absolutely flying with those 156s and 157s on the board.
And something to note, too, is similar to the last couple of weeks, the Formula College Series has never been to Spa before in the IndyCar. So it was a little bit of a shakedown week 1 at Sebring, guys figuring that track out, figuring Vegas out in this new updated car model, as well as now they have another new challenge. And that's just something else that is going to play into the chaos. We see right here Wyatt Burton doing some pretty aggressive tire warming. He's got those alternate tires on, should be a little bit of a softer compound, give these guys a little bit more grip on the short run. But the question that we ask every week is how well do those tires fare on the long run compared to the black sidewalled primary tires? A little bit of a harder compound, holds up a little bit better, but doesn't quite have as much short run grip. Looking at Adam Willoughby here. We're going to ride along with Adam Willoughby, and Wesley, if you'd like to go ahead and give us maybe a little bit of a walkthrough so we can see kind of how a lap at Spa goes.
Yeah, absolutely. As he's kind of heading around the Lacombes into Malmedy, he's going to start looking to the sand. He's going to start heading into Brussels as he starts looking towards that inside, try and hold it there. He's going to be about second to third gear, transition to the left side, coming into Speaker's Corner. He's going to be trying to push against these curves as he kind of touches into that sand there. And he's going to stick on that right side as he transitions back over to go around the double gauche. He's going to have to let off a little bit just to keep onto that track side. And he's through with flying colors coming into Lethanes. And he is taking a very, very short line there as he kind of sets up for that little back-to-back turn from right to left. And he's through there. He's going to start coming into Campus, holding onto that right side. Kind of a short as we kind of transition back over to Muhammad Alif as he's getting ready to go through a Rouge. Such a fast corner to go into Radion. Let's see as he kind of comes into Camel, onto the Camel straight. Absolutely flying, top of 6th gear. Holding it all the way down to the floor on that right side pedal. And then he comes again into the Combs and Malmedy as he gets ready to shift back into that right side. Again, we're going back down the hill into Brussels. Let's look for that break point. Right there, right as that curve kind of starts on the left side where he's looking, holding it pinned to that right side in 2nd gear. Transitions, and let's go through Spooky's corner. Again, into that sand. That's probably going to be another common thing we're going to see. And into double gauche, lets off a little bit back into the throttle, holding it there. Good job, Muhammad Alif. As we kind of transition, this track is all over the place, so you're not just sticking to one side, you're constantly changing these sides, which is something that these IndyCar drivers are not used to here in Belgium. We kind of stick over to the left here again, and across, holding onto that bumper, kind of digging into that sand, and as we come on to Stavelot, and into the Corvette Ferrer. I believe that's how you pronounce that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Avalo, thank you, I'm sorry. And into Blanchimont. Gear up for that chicane. That chicane's going to be absolutely killer. If he kind of comes loose again here, coming out of it onto the start finish, he's clean. And across the line he goes.
That is a lap at Spa, similar to Sebring, one of the longer tracks on the circuit. It takes a little bit longer to lap here at a track like we saw at Interlagos last season, a couple of those shorter road courses we ran at as well here. But lap times close to 2 minutes means plenty of different corners to memorize, plenty of braking points to nail, quite a few passing opportunities. Didn't see that in qualifying, everybody. Of course, single car laps, but once this race gets going, they're really going to start picking apart points to make some passes. You can see there on the end, anytime you have a long straightaway followed by a sharp corner, that's going to be an opportunity where you're going to be able to look to the inside here. A little bit of a bigger track map and some facts about it. 7 kilometers in length, 19 turns. The track has been in running since 1921. And we do have to give a shout out to the sponsor of tonight's race, the Longland Corporation, Napa Group, right now associated with Brennan Lyman, driver the number 78 for the Oklahoma Panhandle State University, making his debut today. There is their web address and the Napa for Longland Corporation. Go to napaonline.com. Their store number 28128. Again, brought on board by Brennan Lyman. So we thank them for supporting us, and we thank you for watching, as we are just about 6 minutes away from the green flag now, qualifying wrapping up. So we will have your starting lineup momentarily. Now, Wesley, before we get to see that, before we even see the starting grid, I'm going to give you the opportunity here to make a pick and stick with it all night long.
Stick with it all night long. That's going to be a very bold choice. To be honest, I'm kind of split between a couple of drivers that we've kind of been looking at tonight. We were on board with Muhammad Alif. That's going to be my bold choice right there. He's been good all season. Last season, he was a great driver that I was cheering on last season. He's been good so far the past 2 races. I think I'm going to have to stick with him. Other than that, I got to go with one of our brand new drivers who is also making their debut, Pierce Hanley.
Couple of picks from Wesley Shaw. I'm ready. I get to see the grid before I pick, but I'm going to go ahead and take Jake Cummings, driver the 95. Really, really good in practice and qualifying as well, I believe. So we're going to bring up that starting lineup. I'll take the top 10 and then hand it off to Wesley. And we'll get that for you momentarily. On the pole, the number 12 from Ball State University, Muhammad Alif, gets it with an absolute flyer by 0.7 of a second by Adam Willoughby, the Clemson alum, his best ever starting result in Formula College competition. Starting back in row number 2, Jake Cummings from Converse University, just barely faster than Mr. Excitement himself. Wyatt Burton from Trine, making his first road course start of the season. Back in the 5th spot, it's Dylan Beatty from Ball State University. He's had a great season so far, looking to continue. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, Cale Davidson looking to build some momentum. He starts 6th. Rolling off in the 7th spot, it's Keegan Kallick from St. Clair College, starting next to Thomas Crump from Clemson. And rounding out the top 10, Adrian Tubakovic from St. Clair College, and that rookie making his FCA debut, Pierce Hanley from Auburn University.
And moving into the number 11 spot, we have Mr. Ricky Paz. He's been such a great driver all week long, and we're going to see him great. And then at number 12 spot, we're going to see Edwin Onofre, driver from University of North Texas, sorry. Moving on from there, we're going to see number 22, Jake Dick, another representative of Ball State, and right next to him, another Ball State driver, Nick Henley. Moving into number 15, we got Brennan Lyman. He's going to be a great driver to look behind, and obviously another one of our great drivers to represent that Napa Longland Corporation. Number 16, Riley Perkins at New England College. Going on to number 17, we have University of Alabama with Mr. Ryan Barkins, and number 18, Matthew Monroe with Ball State. And we have number 19, Del Beasley, University of Delaware, with our number 20th spot rounding off with Aaron Gosler of Kansas State.
And starting in the 21st spot, another driver making his debut tonight, alumni from the University of Delaware. That's Zachary Witt. He starts alongside St. Clair College's Logan McKim. And that should round out our field. Everybody else in the session is there as a spotter. So 22 drivers attempted qualifying, and all 22 made it within 105% of the pole time. So we will see a field of 11 rows. 22 drivers set to roll it off into Eau Rouge here once they wrap up their warm-up session. So we'll take a look. A couple of quick facts getting in on the strategy. The race is 30 laps long. You do have unlimited sets of tires, but you have those compound choices like we mentioned. You do also have that rain tire lying in the pit. So later on in the race, it's expected to get a little cloudy. Weather is expected to roll in and make some head scratchers for these drivers and their crews if they've got one. Go about 11 to 13 laps on a fuel stop, so we may see some drivers try a little bit of a shorter first stint. We may see some drivers try to run long here at the drop of the green. So thank you for joining us. Tonight's race, the Hotstone Hustle Grand Prix, once again. Looking at drivers wrapping up qualifying. They'll be grading up here in a minute or so. And then we will fire them off into turn number 1. Taking a look, I believe that is the number 3 of St. Clair College, Logan McKim, getting a few last second practice in McKim in his rookie season with the CIL. Put in a few results so far between the FC Series and the Cup Series on Monday. Wesley, I know you've run the Cup Series before. You've never driven in the FC Series, but hope you've checked out some of our broadcasts, and I'm excited to do it up here with you tonight.
Absolutely. I've been racing the College Cup Series for, I think this is my second season officially with y'all. I was in the Sports Car Series last year. I have actually checked out these broadcasts before, and that's what got me so interested in broadcasting with you tonight, Cade Corbin. I can't wait to see us perform.
It's always a blast, always fun to do it up here, kind of get a front row seat, a little bit of behind the scenes view. If you are watching this race and have a question for us or a driver that you would like to see highlighted, go ahead and let us know in the chat feature there on the right side of your screen for that YouTube broadcast. Middle of the race, we'll be checking that out, seeing if there's any drivers. I'm already seeing some cheering for Ricky, some cheering for Stell, cheering from the Lyman cheering section, and a little bit of cheering for Ricky Bobby. Unfortunately, Ricky Bobby not in the field for tonight. He was a little bit too busy, could not make the race. But Ricky Paz is out here, and that should be enough Ricky for one afternoon. Warm-up has wrapped up, and we are headed down to the grid. Drivers behind the safety car. So rolling start into turn 1, Wesley. What do you think we're going to see?
And I think we're going to see some very, very tight racing coming straight off that start, especially with that rolling start coming through. It's going to be La Source that they're going to be starting off of, and that's going to be such a tight corner running even off the Formula One races that I've seen. It's always such a tight corner off of turn one. You have 3, 4, 5 cars wide, all trying to make it through first. It's just going to be one insane race just from the start.
And this is not the only time we've seen an incredibly tight turn number one. Montreal from last season was a really, really tight start. We saw similar situations at tracks like Okayama, or excuse me, we saw some very tight starts last season, so we're in store for another one of those here today. Again, 22 cars in the field. Everybody who attempted the race was able to make it. So it'll be Muhammad Alif, Thomas Crump on the front row. Excuse me, that's Adam Willoughby. A couple of similar-looking Clemson cars, but Willoughby there on the front row. He's had some really, really good runs this season. Kind of came on strong towards the end of last year, and he's just been building momentum. He's been getting a little bit more consistent, a little bit better. We've well documented the issues that a lot of the Clemson cars have had, a lot of bad luck on the side of the orange and purple machines, but if they can shake that, they're starting with 2 cars inside the top 10, led a lot of laps last week at Vegas. And Wesley, I think the Clemson brigade has a little bit of a chance to interrupt the Ball State here.
I do agree that the Clemson guys may have a good shot, but there's just no way you can really stop all the Ball State drivers. I mean, we have, 5 to 6 drivers fielding right now on the Ball State? Yeah, that's going to be one heck of a wall to try and beat over, especially when right on their tails they have that Converse machine sitting right behind our Muhammad Alif in row 2.
And when you talk about dominant teams, you typically do talk about Ball State. Again, the sheer number of drivers that they have in the field. Want to highlight Matthew Monroe in the 44 joining us tonight, another Ball State driver. Of course, you've got Dylan Beatty. Nick Henley's in the field tonight, looking down that list there. Jake Dick in the number 22, able to make the start. So there's plenty of opportunities. And here we go, getting ready to run. Our Muhammad Alif leads us to the green flag, and we are racing here in Spa as the drivers fan out into turn 1.
Our Muhammad Alif making a clear run away with that Jake Cummings machine, closely making that pass, and there's some grass and dust being kicked up in the rear, but our Muhammad Alif just running away with it, just making time away from Adam Willoughby and Jake Cummings, leaving them in the dust.
And it looks like they were able to avoid that chaos that we feared would happen. The run through Rouge and Radion now onto the Kennel straight. Everybody makes it clean through. A little bit of tires in the dirt there for Willoughby. Lost a spot early to Cummings, trying to get it back, but now he has Wyatt Burton all over the tailpipes of that 022. Here comes a move from Thomas Crump. He looks to the inside of Dylan Beatty. Nothing there, just a little bit of a fake out. So this field still getting sorted, some side-by-side racing towards the back half of the top 10, but everybody's still on track. Nearly contact there. Ricky Paz dipped the tires in the dirt. That's going to allow Keegan Kallick to get clear, but just barely.
Yeah, absolutely. They're kicking up dust all over the place, running wide, and just trying to keep it on track while making these first lap passes. Yeah. Nick Henley making that pass. He is fighting around this corner. Man, they're just trying to make whatever move they can from lap 1, trying to cement down, get their heads down, get the laps turning, and try and get these 30 laps over with. Each one of them were pushing absolutely to the max, waiting on that lap 2 to kick in with that push to pass.
Now, having a look at here, this is back up towards the front of the field. Dylan Beatty still taking a look at Wyatt Burton. Wyatt Burton, the defensive line into the right-hander. Almost a crossover there from Beatty in the chicane. Tried to get the power down and the back end stepped out just a little bit. He'll have to regroup. Going to get a really big toe down this straightaway, though. One of the hallmarks of Spa. Here he goes again. Takes the momentum to the inside. Burton gives room to Beatty. And as soon as they hit the straightaway, you can see the entire top half of the leaderboard lights up on the push to pass, trying to gain as much momentum as possible.
As we kind of look up into Rouge and Radion, where they're continuing to fight, they're going neck and neck as the push to pass is activated, and we see Ricky Paz in number 8 McKinley or Muhammad Ali, we have all of these drivers kicking in that push to pass. We only have about 200 seconds total of push to pass to use, so they have to use it wisely. And they are just dumping it down this straight up camel.
And that's something that these drivers talk about. You know, you can use it early to try to gain some positions. Look at the move. Burton, in that new all-blue paint scheme, had a moment again where he jumped to the inside. Second lap in a row where he's tried that. But you can either ration your push to pass and try to save some for the end of the race, or you can use it early and try to build up that gap. That's what our Muhammad Ali is doing right now. He's already put 3 seconds on the field. But behind them, when it turns into a dogfight, you need that extra little bit of horsepower to get everything that you can. We're going to take a look at on board with the Dylan Beatty from Ball State University. He was able to get to the inside of Jake Cummings. Excuse me, that is Wyatt Burton. Burton's going to have the preferred line in this corner, and Beatty lets him go ahead. Had a little bit of a crossover there. Little bit of left side tires in the dirt for Burton. And for the moment, the driver from Trine is able to maintain the position.
Absolutely. I'm kind of surprised he's not using that push to pass just to get right up on his nose and try and make that move into the chicane as we kind of come through. He's trying to make that look towards the outside, which is going to turn in the inside, and he is moving up, and oh, he backs out of it, just trying to keep that nose clean. With these Indy cars, that those noses super fragile compared to the NASCARs I'm used to.
Yeah, you really cannot make contact in these cars. As you see right there, really aggressive move out of, that is Thomas Crump. Tried to get to the inside of Dylan Beatty. That's the thing. Dylan Beatty was on attack mode, but you got to make sure when you're trying to make that move that you don't leave yourself vulnerable. Now, Beatty finding himself in the clutches of Thomas Crump. Crump going to get a really good draft. Look at how close he is to the toe. Beatty gets on the push to pass to try to break that. Moves all the way to the inside of the Kennel Straight. Crump going to fire it to the outside, looking for that position. Preferred line goes to Beatty, but Crump is going to get better momentum on corner exit.
As you kind of see him cut back into that regular line just to get this downhill right, as that separation starts to ensue again, back down to second gear, and he gets a little slide coming around. He's trying to chase down that nose just to see if he can get any kind of looks going through the double gauche.
And you see what's happened as soon as these two have got to fighting. Wyatt Burton has checked out. See you later. That 26 car has put over a second on Dylan Beatty, as that has allowed Cale Davidson. And how about Ricky Paz getting brought into this battle? Paz once again showing you can do it on both the ovals and the roads. Still very early in this race, but he finds himself squarely in the top 10. Riding along now with Thomas Crump, the alumni from Clemson. And if we take a little bit of a look farther back, if we can, something happened to Ryan Barkins, the number 072 driver from Alabama. Don't know if we'll replay that, but he dropped way back. You see him here in the 14th position at the moment. Started in 13th. Just gets a little bit off track there. Wasn't something crazy. And something's happened to Wyatt Burton in the chicane at the very end of the track. Coming onto the home straightaway, Wyatt Burton found himself in a very sketchy position.
Absolutely. He was over a second up on those two cars. I'm wondering what happened here.
Get a replay for you here in a minute. This is Wyatt Burton quite a few seconds before disaster. He's going to get heavy into the braking zone. Oh, he touches that curb with the right side tire and just can't get the car settled. The weight is all over the place and very lucky to avoid contact. I think a little bit of damage to the rear wing, but everybody else makes it through okay still. That is going to be not necessarily a day ender, but probably throwing away his chances at a podium for Wyatt Burton. Absolutely dismal to have that happen on lap 3.
Absolutely. You kind of heard me speak about it during qualifying, that coming out of that chicane was going to be a huge problem for some of these cars just because how loose they were getting. We saw our Muhammad Ali coming into that flyer back during qualifying. It's just these cars get so loose coming through that chicane. You're so close to that bacon curb. It's just so high, it's so offset that these cars get a little bit upset coming out of it. And if you're not careful, the car goes sideways, kind of like what we saw. Very lucky that that rear wing didn't come into the wall and he didn't take any damage, that what I saw. But Like you said, it's not going to be a day ender, but it is very much going to be a day upsetter. I know he is not happy on his side.
Yeah, Wyatt Burton still looking for a good result this season. Had bad look at Vegas, wasn't able to run Sebring, so he's a guy who's really used to running up towards the front of these races, and today he's going to be digging himself out of a hole. Right now working on Ryan Barkins. Barkins recovered nicely. At one point was back outside the top 15, about to give up 12th to Burton, but once again through this same set of corners, might be some flashbacks for Burton. They're going to be 3 wide as backing out of it is Matthew Monroe. Ball State driver there in the gold car decides he is going to let these boys have at it. But into the first turn, Monroe
up into the
peeks his
inside.
nose in there. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. He kind of stuck up on the inside, looking for a little bit after he checked out, thinking, oh, maybe I can get on the inside of him, just upset him a little bit, but no. Burton just kind of holds on to it, trying to make every position he can back, trying to be aggressive, trying to get back inside that top 10 and see what he can get back.
Yeah, Burton steps to the outside there. He's going to get that 44 car right behind him now, is able to be clear of Barkins all the way to the bottom, and the spot finally goes to Burton. It looks like Barkins is going to lose 2 at once as Monroe able to follow the 26 car through, but they are still side by side, and now into the battle is Pierce Hanley. Hanley had a really scary moment. Lap 1, turn 1, locked up the tires, fell all the way back outside the top 20. But now he has come back in. Looking at the graphic there at the bottom, 83% chance of rain. That makes it seem like an if. Excuse me, that makes it seem like a when and not an if. Very cloudy, a lot of wind moving in. Track is cooling down. That's going to bring lap times down until the rain starts to fall.
We kind of seen a warm track all season long, and I think this is going to be the first race ever in the IndyCar series that we're going to see a very big chance of rain, seeing that 83%. You kind of see Thomas Crump running down and getting past Ricky. That push to pass kind of activate on as they're going through these turns coming into the chicane. Absolutely, going back into the rain thing, we're going to see most likely a win on that rain instead of an if. We might actually see these wet tires coming into play instead of these black and red slicks.
Oh, as
we see another spin
around, coming out of the chicane, 19th and final turn has been the killer. He's going to wait for the entire field to go by. That's him looking at the back bumper of Cale Davidson. Davidson did a nice job to work up to the 6th spot, but I think got checked up behind Thomas Crump. And Keegan Kallick may have made contact. It may have just been wheel spin. The 19 and the 29 have not been able to get away from each other all season. But it looks like my producer is telling me that right foot Ricky has struck again, and a little bit too much of the throttle pedal was the cause of the spin. So Pa's going to fall all the way back to the 20th position, and similar to Burton, not day over, no damage to the Valco machine, but certainly really hurting his chances at running in the top 5.
Along with those chances, just really hurting that emotion as well. You know he is absolutely livid inside that car, inside that helmet. I would be too, don't worry. But again, with my prediction saying that last turn out of the chicane going into the start-finish is just being spot on, where we're seeing a lot of these cars getting too upset. That right foot getting a little too heavy, especially with that right foot Ricky. You kind of see it in the College Cup Series. We're seeing it now in the Formula College. It just seems to be another instance of right foot Ricky.
Hey, but the right pedal is called the right pedal and not the wrong pedal for a reason. I think that's the pedal that you need to be using, especially down these straights. Paz certainly has the opportunity to get himself back in this one, still over 24 laps to go. And with the impending rain, that'll be an opportunity to play some strategy. Do want to let you guys know, if it does rain and drivers have to switch to wets, that will fulfill the tire compound requirement. So there may be a little bit of an incentive to try to run this race on those alternates here at the beginning, do a couple of short stints. If you're thinking that you're going to have to switch to the wets and avoid the primaries altogether, I'm seeing a lot of red sidewalls out there. As we take a look, this battle's still ongoing. Dylan Beatty has got the pest of Thomas Crump, but Cale Davidson, Keegan Kallick is right in there. Edwin Onofre's worked himself up into the 8th position. He is looking at the tail end of this little group of 5. A lot of these guys have not been able to get away from each other all season, and it has followed them into Spa.
Absolutely. They've been kind of fighting these past two races, and again, it turns out to be the same old, same old. They're fighting each other again all season. And what a move from Kale moving on the outside to inside. And you kind of see him move around.
He tried the best he could, but it put him in a weird spot for that right-hander, and he had to tuck in the line behind Adam Willoughby. Now, Edwin Onofre looking like he might have a run to the inside of Keegan Calick. He's going to decide to back out of that one. But yeah, this little group of five being led by Dylan Beatty, 4th through 8th positions. Little bit of dirt there for Adam Willoughby. Excuse me, that's Thomas Crump picking that up. I'm going to make that mistake all day long. I'll apologize in advance. But for a moment, the door was open for Cale Davidson. Decided not to take it. Now he's going to look, see if he can't launch this car into the outside, as we're going to ride along with Keegan Calick and see the move. Look at the crossover from Cale Davidson, but did not have the opportunity to use it. He's got a really good run on Crump now. I think the two cars faster. I think he didn't qualify well. Cale Davidson has kind of been that perennial second place driver, right? He's been following the 12, was able to capitalize last season to win Long Beach. But other than that, he was second in just about every category last season. This time, it's a little bit different, right? We haven't seen quite as much of that two car, and he's trying to work his way back up through the field. He's started, I believe, back in the 6th spot. That is where he runs right now, so lost a couple positions early, has fought those back to get even on the day, and he's looking to get one more.
Absolutely. You kind of saw him all last season hunting for that first, but only ever coming up second. Now he's trying to cut even now as he's trying to fight and get around that outside or inside on that Ball State car. It's just not turning out exactly the way he wants to, but he's got another 22 laps to try and fight and take it over and get whatever place he can get. As you kind of see him activate that push to pass, and then you see him on the outside. Ooh, as they almost go 3 wide coming into the turn. You see that double Ball State. They're kind of playing bumper cars right now.
Ooh, a little bit of contact. They're going to be dead even 2 rows deep. Momentum goes to Cale Davidson. He might get 2 for 1 right here. He has fired it onto the outside. He gets
a little loose
on corner exit, but he hangs on to it. From 6th to 4th, the move by Davidson kicks up some dirt, but now he's going to try to set sail on that prime tire. Looks like a little bit of life has come out of the alternates. The switchover has happened. Dylan Beatty secures the 5th spot. Crump able to stay ahead of Calick, but look at that.
Absolutely. They start kind of running away with it, leaving those 3 cars behind. As you kind of see those primaries start making a better move than the alternates. Again, I have to agree with you. I think the crossover has happened. Those are starting to show that where the primaries are still going strong.
And the question, too, to look at now, we talked about that 11 to 13 lap field window. Breaking this race up into thirds would have you pitting on lap 10, which opens up the opportunity for an undercut on lap 9. So we could be close to some pit stops, especially if those alternates are feeling it. And you can see they are. Look at how squirrely the 016 got. Gave Keegan Calick a great run down the home straightaway. A little bit of a 3-wide look now. Calick is clear, and Onofre is going to take a spot as well. Make it 2 spots. Onofre fires it ahead of Calick. Clear on corner exit. Hangs onto the car. They're going to be side by side into Eau Rouge.
Absolutely. Lost Source is a very hard turn to try and get right, and you just kind of see him fly around it. Absolutely making that turn, going through Radion, around and through.
That's going to be a slow down penalty for Keegan Calick. You saw just how far he got off track. Basically got all 4 tires on the wrong side of the curbing, and he's going to slow down, let that pass. And look at who's back in this battle. Wyatt Burton has driven up from a long ways back. He's gotten around Calick. Here they go side by side into the left-hander. Wyatt Burton is looking at that like a fine Thanksgiving meal. He wants to devour it. Crump gets loose. Burton with the jaws wide open, looking to make the move. He's going to get side by side with Crump on the straight. If he can get a little bit of a tow from Onofre, it's going to pull him ahead, and it does.
Absolutely. You see that fire in his eyes and that head down, getting those laps in. He's been using that push to pass ever since he got spun on that last turn. trying to look for whatever position he can grab, and it looks like it's turning out very well for him in this short-term race.
Something we do want to update you all on real quick. The 072 car of Zachary Wett, that's driver from Delaware University, I believe making his debut for the day, had some contact with the 30 of Aaron Gosler from Kansas State. Caused some real damage to the 30 car. I believe he's gone at least one lap down with some issues, so it did result in a penalty to the 027. As our producer flipping through here trying to find the incident. We'll get that for you if we can. It was quite a while ago, and there is the contact. So we're looking at the 072 of Barkins. Excuse me, this is Witt. There's a 27 and an 072. There's a lot going on here. Yes, Ricky paused to the inside, and that's the 30 car, and the 30 slows down and just gets run over by Zachary Witt. Witt able to continue. Yeah, we're going to ride along here, Wesley. Walk us through this.
Absolutely. You kind of see Ricky Paz start looking to that inside, trying to get through this corner. All of a sudden, there comes a car from the back, trying to look and see if he can sneak in a little last-second pass while he's kind of offset from the main line. It just... there. He started shutting that door, expecting there's not going to be another car, and it just didn't work out for him very well.
Meanwhile, back up front, Wyatt Burton has cleared Edwin and Ofre, so moved the 26 car up to the 5th spot. He's now going to put his head down and chase Cale Davidson, looking at the 26 on primaries. So I think those alternates have definitely fallen off. Still, though, nobody decided to bring it down to the pits. So everybody kind of going to run that fuel a little bit long. You can see Dylan Beatty about 2 seconds ahead. Burton going.
We were kind of seeing that 83% of rain, but that sun is shining. We were starting out with a very cloudy day, but it seems that sun has turned out to not want to let that rain drop, as we kind of see that wind still sitting at 12 miles an hour.
And we will have a look at the chat real quick. Seeing a lot. Logan McKim getting some love. He's been working his way up through the field. Had an incident a little bit earlier in the race, but he is in the 20th spot. And of course, a nice comeback for Wyatt Burton. The comeback is not done yet. I've got to believe that this 26 car is going to continue to gain spots. And Ofre had a little bit of a look there on corner exit, but decided to tuck into the giraffe down the front stretch. And just a little bit ago, it was well over 2 seconds up to Dylan Beatty, and they have run that 20 car down. And they've brought Keegan Kalick with them a little bit. Kalick and Tubakovic. How about Tubakovic inside the top 10 for, I think, one of the first times on a road course in that 38 car, so it's been a good run thus far for St. Clair all around, as an Ofre maybe looking to try to get it back on Burton.
Absolutely. We've been kind of seeing that Tubakovic car moving up through the ranks. Again, like you said, this is probably one of the first road courses he's been here, and he's been a very strong driver. I was kind of in awe of the moves he's made compared to that Wyatt Burton, as he is back up in the number 6 spot. He's been working all race to get back to where he lost.
Up to 6th and now working on 5th. Dylan Beatty took a really, really defensive line down the kennel straight. Now here goes Burton looking to the outside. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the pass made right here, but if he can get a crossover, not going to get it done this time. He's just going to have to tuck in line behind the 20, swings to the outside. It could be just a matter of time. No, he fires it on the outside, sticks it on the bottom, and he has to save the car. I think he knew even before he did it that that was a very aggressive move. And you saw just how squirrely the car got. He's going to have to regroup a little bit. Certainly got some heat in those Firehawks. But he's going to tuck in line, able to keep Onofre behind him. Not a big enough mistake that he lost a position. Now getting on the push to pass and charging back at the 5th position.
Absolutely, as you kind of see him try and poke around the outside, and the car goes off! He's off! Oh no! Yeah, deal of netcode, it looked like to me, it looked like there was any actual made contact. It looked like there was a little bit of space. It was all it took for Dylan Beatty at the end of the night.
Ooh. You see just how quickly that car snapped around. As we're trying to find a good replay for you here. And Dylan Beatty, man, he ran so well at the Clash, so strong at Sebring. And these last couple of races, we just have not seen a lot of the 20 car. And looked really, really good to start this one off. And unfortunately, that knocks one of the Ball State cars outside the top 5. And we saw what happened to the 30 car. So Aaron Gosler, not necessarily out of this race, but going to be several laps down with a lot of repairs. Dylan Beatty joining him behind the wall. We'll move that car back to the 21st position on track.
Going off some of the quick facts about the car tonight, I believe these cars have one fast repair. Correct, Mr. Cade?
That is not correct. Yes, we only have a fast repair for the oval races tonight. There is no fast repairs. Some of that damage may be repairable. It will take a significant amount of time, but depending on how bad iRacing decides the damage is, it could be day done. It could just mean spending a while in the pits replacing some of those
we kind of saw that right front pop off, and it looks like it was just not a very good time for him. I know, going off of mechanics, I think personally he would be done. Unless he got some kind of magical repairman in that garage, I think he's probably going to be done for the night.
So with that little bit of an incident there, it moves Wyatt Burton up to the top 5. Onofre, Kalik, Tubakovic, Henley, now Jake Dick. So a Ball State driver out of the top 5, but a Ball State driver into the top 10. This move right here is Jacob Dick on the outside of... No, that's Jacob Dick getting around Nick Henley. As behind them, we see a few cars pull off into the pits. A few of the leaders in the pits as well. Cagle Davidson and Keegan Kalik have dropped it down to pit road. So lap 12, the cycle has started. That's Jake Cummings exiting the pits here. He's going to be on cold tires. He's going to be on cold primaries. So something to keep your eye on as he flies up through Eau Rouge on the first lap of his second stint.
Absolutely. And now you kind of see Muhammad Alif just running away now with that 22-second gap. He's got to be running down that pit lane soon, because that 11 to 13 lap window is going to be catching up to him soon. Either he is running almost on fumes, or something's going on there, but I think he's going to be running down either this lap or the next.
Yeah, we've seen these Ball State cars be so good at fuel saving, just stretching that run to basically get as much of an advantage on the back end of the stint as they can. But as long as this track is, Alif is, likely going to be in this lap. Here's Ryan Barkins on cold tires, looking to the inside of Pierce Hanley. Few newcomers to the FC Series in this IndyCar. Barkins going to get the spot handily. I think Hanley kind of looked at that and said, hey, I don't really want to challenge you without any heat in these tires. See Ricky Paz behind him. I think Paz might have just a little bit more raw pace than these guys, but he has to run them down. And that could take a couple of laps here, but we'll keep an eye on this battle.
You're going to kind of see him activate that little bit of push to pass just to catch back into him, as you kind of see Jake Cummings trying to get back into the fight with that Wyatt Burton, who's pushed all the way into third place, with Evan Onofre sitting in P2.
Yeah, a few of these guys still to come down pit road. Wyatt Burton. Oh, it looks to me like Wyatt Burton might be out of gas. That car slowed through a crawl. Jake Dick had to go wide to avoid him. Now both Dick and Burton pulling into the pits. And yeah, I think Burton ran that just a little bit too long. Maybe didn't use enough of a high fuel. All of a sudden, his car jumps. I think Jake Dick was stuck or something. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but one car disappeared and another car went airborne.
It looks like that little bit of contact just kind of knocked his steering a little bit off there. He's kind of cocked to the right there. Other negative that Wyatt Burton's going to have to take and move on during the race, as we kind of see Muhammad Alif just running away with it. He's got 4 seconds on Jake Cummings, but Jake Cummings is slowly trying to close it down.
So Alif in on lap 13, I believe, so he probably will have to pit at least one more time. We will see. The gap back to Cummings, only 4 seconds. So I think that's a little bit closer than it was. Cummings has traditionally been really, really good on these pit cycles. We'll see if he can continue gaining anything back, as the rest of the field has pit as well. We saw that contact with Jake Dick and Wyatt Burton, so a little bit of damage done to those drivers. Longer stops for a couple cars that were running inside the top 10. That's moved Ryan Barkins up to the 9th spot. Pierce Hanley now fighting Nick Henley. That's a really good battle that's going on. And that they've got Ricky Paz in there as well. You see Paz looking to the inside of Nick Henley. They're going to be side by side, and that's going to allow Hanley to drive away just a little bit.
Absolutely. You kind of see, ooh, and he kind of pushes through. He might have that edge coming into this turn as he's, yes, he is all the way through. Ricky Paz has made up the position on Nick Henley and up to 11th place, and now he's going to try and chase down that Pierce Hanley if he can keep off Nick Henley.
So Paz a little bit of a ways to go, but he can see the top 10 up the road now, still in the process of recovering from that very early spin about 12 laps ago. Got to give a shout out to Pierce Hanley. Ran really, really well in practice. Had a top 5 practice time, and once again, Ricky has trouble through the chicane. Keeps it straight and maintains his position, although I have to imagine that's another slowdown penalty as the car, again, all 4 tires on the wrong side of the red and yellow curbing. So we'll see if he finds an opportunity to serve that. But that's going to kill his momentum for at least a couple of laps trying to hunt down Hanley. But yeah, Pierce Hanley, I believe this is his first start in Formula College World Championship competition. Ran really, really well in practice, qualified inside the top 10, and he's recovering from a lockup on lap number 1. So he's made up 12 spots since the second turn of the first lap. And one of those spots was on Ricky Paz. So Pierce Hanley up there, Ryan Barkins inside the top 10 as well, and these two being chased by Brennan Lyman, another driver making his FC debut.
So you kind of see all these new drivers seem to be one heck of a wild card, and all our drivers that we're used to, you know, Ricky Paz, R. Muhammad Alif, Jay Cummings, Dale Davidson, Edwin Onofre. But man, this new crop of drivers seems to be one luck of the draw, some aces in their sleeves that they're bringing to the table. They're just fighting all day, as you kind of see Pierce Hanley in the top 10 now. We're just going to see him go on up. I'm calling it right now. He's going to keep in that top 10 spot.
That's something that we've seen across the board a little bit this season. We've got a lot of really, really competitive rookies in all of our CIL seasons. So a little bit of a reminder, if you want to see some more college racing action, the Cup Series runs on Mondays. And then on Wednesday, the Sports Car Series will run multi-class at Indianapolis. And just like today, that race has some rain in the forecast as well. So clouds rolling in here over Spa, as we're looking at the battle for 15th. Matthew Monroe from Ball State, Riley Berkins from New England. And just up the road from them, Stell Beasley, driver from Delaware, another driver making his debut today, running 14th. And with both of his front wings, I think that's really all you can expect from your first start, as Berkins makes a lunge to the inside of the chicane. He's going to maybe get even with Monroe, try to cross him over on corner exit, use those alternate tires. But for the moment, Matthew Monroe will hold on to the spot.
As he kind of tries to peek around that outside, and it seems to kind of work as they're now alongside, going through Little Source, coming into a Rouge. He still can't get that spot through. Maybe he's thinking that maybe we can get it into a Rouge and Radion, maybe into Kimmel. Seems like no. He's just trying to chase it down, and maybe he can pull it through Kimmel.
Well, he's going to get a big run down this corner here. He's going to pull to the outside, use the draft of that 70 car to get side by side with Matthew Monroe, but Monroe going to be able to hit the apex here and actually make a little bit of a move on Beasley. Now gets to the inside of the Delaware machine. Monroe through for the 14th position. For a moment, I think Berkins thought about sending it 3, but Monroe took the defensive line, and Beasley going to give it to the 33 car. So Monroe up to the 14th position now. Riley Berkins sits 15th. Stell Beasley dropping back to the 16th spot.
That's going to be one tough break when you see that one car behind you turns into 2 cars in front of you. It's just not a very good look. But I know for the first race, I'd still be absolutely ecstatic that I'm in top 20 at this moment.
we can give you a little bit of an update on that incident we saw getting to pit road. Looked like the damage was mostly terminal for both Wyatt Burton and Jake Dick, a couple of drivers that came into this race certainly expecting to run in the top 10 and potentially challenge for the top 5. They find themselves out of the race with Dylan Beatty, another driver in a similar boat. Aaron Gosler back out on track, so he could pick up a few positions and drop those drivers down from 20th to 22nd, excuse me, in the final running order. So update stays over to all 3 of those drivers. Happened not even halfway into the race, so gotta imagine a lot of disappointment in Trine and Ball State, but Ball State still has some really good drivers out here on track, of course, leading the race. Gotta shout out Cale Davidson second, and then that 44 car right there, Matthew Monroe, like you said, top 20 in your debut race, just being able to run all the laps, get the experience. It's something that not a lot of rookies have been able to do. You find yourself in trouble in your first race. But thus far, I don't want to jinx it. I'll knock on some wood. But our 4 debutants for today have avoided trouble 17 laps in.
I have to knock on wood along with you because, man, they are just fighting. But to be honest, that Monroe has some very good mentors to run off with, along with just his first race. You know, leading off with Muhammad Ali, I think he's definitely giving him some tips to run off that first race. So I think he's got a great team behind him, and to pull off a top 20 is one heck of a show for Ball State. Pulling a first, a fourth, and a top 20 from their brand new driver.
Can't forget Nick Henley either, driving the 64 in 12th, potentially challenging. Good battle here. This is Ryan Barkins and Pierce Hanley. These two have been going at it for quite a while. That 072 car made his debut a little bit earlier in the season. Driver for Alabama. He's going to get Hanley looking to the inside here, but Hanley decides to back out before they hit the chicane. I think he saw what happened to Ricky. Paused right in his mirror there, and it almost did happen to Pierce Hanley, able to keep that car under him. Loses a little bit of momentum to Barkins down the straight. These two closing the gap on Thomas Crump. Crump's been slipping back a little bit from the beginning of this race. Still inside the top 10, but he's got to stop the trend if he wants to finish this race there.
Absolutely. You kind of saw him up near that top 5 for a little bit, but maybe it's those tires kicking in. They're just kind of slumping back. I think he's been on alternates all race. I am not sure, so fact check me on that. Maybe it's those tires kind of kicking in. Maybe it's him trying to keep some fuel in the tank, kind of run a little bit long, maybe try and make it all the way to the race when some cars are looking for a 2-stop. Running off that Muhammad Ali, I think he stopped lap 15, lap 14 or 15 to try and make this a 1-stop race. So maybe he's trying to catch up with them, play a little bit of keep away and keep that 1-stop race from turning into a 2-stop.
You mentioned something there about the tires too. We talked about it the first run. It was lap 8, lap 9, maybe that switchover started to happen. We're looking right now for all the drivers that pitted on lap 12 or so. That switchover is going to be happening around lap 19, maybe lap 20. So we're getting close to the point where the drivers who have primes on this stint are going to be a little bit faster than the drivers on alt. So that's going to be something else to keep an eye on as well. His battle not gone away, though. Still closing in on Crump. You see both Crump and Barkins kick up some dirt. That's going to let Barkins get even closer as he kind of pulls that 03 car with him. You look at all the high-speed corners, all the straightaways here at Spa. Just these high speeds influenced by the draft. It gives you such an advantage to be right up behind somebody down a straightaway, and it's kept these cars together a little bit. Barkins hopefully going to be clean through the chicane here if he can. He can see Thomas Crump. A little bit of counter steer to get the car straight down the home stretch, but he is within a second of Crump now and gaining.
Absolutely. You kind of see him falling from that chicane. That seems to be my prediction again. His car's getting a little bit upset as he goes through La Source. And he kind of cut to the back bumper. See Pierce Hanley trying to catch in. You kind of see him using that push to pass going right before Rouge and Radion going into Campbell Straight, and he's just trying to run off that draft. These cars recently had that update from iRacing that also boosted their draft model, I believe, pulling in a little bit better and relying more on that draft, especially on these ovals, not necessarily these road courses. But as you see that reel catching so fast, you saw him almost 5 to 6 car lengths back, but all of a sudden just right back on that bumper as he makes a pass
Yeah,
makes
while
a
we're
pass
riding
on him.
on board, Crump fired it to the inside. Oh, actually got really, really loose coming out of the corner, opened the door. Barkins was able to take it. Hanley jumped in that position as well, but Crump slammed the door on him. Riding on board, looks like he gets that right front tire on the curbing. Car gets super upset. Honestly, a great save. Even though he lost some positions, he did not lose his car, still in the race. Unfortunately, down to the 9th spot for Crump. Talk about stopping the slide, and that's really not what we mean. But now he finds himself under fire from Hanley, and Ricky Paz not too far out from the picture. Zachary Witt and Brennan Lyman have pitted. This is a pretty big undercut here. Still 11 or 12 laps to go in the race, but they've decided to make their final stop, put tires on. They're betting that no rain is going to come, so if this race goes green, those drivers could find themselves in a pretty good position. If the rain comes out, they could find themselves screwed, having to make a 3rd stop on the day. Crump wants that spot back from Barkins, though. He's going to look to the outside. Nothing to it. This is a little bit of a battle of the South here. I think we see this battle in college football quite a lot. Alabama, Auburn, and Clemson, as the Auburn machine gets really, really loose coming out of the chicane. Same thing you've been saying all day, Wesley. Had a really good eye for that corner. It has been a big challenge for these drivers.
Really, it's these cars, man. They get so loose coming through that chicane when you just blast it right, and all of a sudden you got to reverse it and go left. And the way that that chicane is formatted, it has just a little bit of a dip coming through it on that inside, so that if you clip it just right, as we kind of saw with Ricky Paz, along with some other drivers tonight, it just upsets the car so much that it spins you.
Once again, Barkins and Crump side by side. Crump is going to challenge, and it looks like he's going to get the spot back, but Barkins hangs on the outside, fires it down to the right-hander. He's going to get another right-hand turn coming up, so he's going to get the advantage, but Crump is clear, slides down, takes the defensive line, manages to get the car to rotate, slows them both down. Hanley checks up to avoid a collision, and Ricky Paz is drug into the battle, make it a 4-car fight for the 8th spot. But while we've got a little bit of a break in the action, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Barkins. Started this race in the 17th spot, running at the moment 9th. When he was up to 8th, though, that's 9 spots gained on the day. By far the most of any driver. So really good run for Ryan Barkins. I believe it's just his 2nd start in Formula College competition. And he is finding himself solidly inside the top 10, looking like a challenger. Still that rain in the area. A lot of drivers, I think, holding out on this run, trying to make it go as long as it can. So they've only got to pit one more time if that stop is for wet. So again, keeping our eyes to the skies as the gap for the lead has grown to 9 seconds. The gap back to the 3rd spot, almost 20. But this battle within a couple of car lengths.
And kind of looking through that weather as we see Ricky Paz in another car dip into that pit lane for a little bit of late race tires. I think they do believe it's not going to rain. You kind of see that sun dripping out. You see that the shadows out. There's 0 clouds at the moment. In Ricky Paz's mind, I think it is the right move to go in for some fresh tires just to get a little bit of a kicker.
And the car from St. Clair already away. That was Keegan Callett getting off pit road. Pierce, Hanley, Ricky Paz in as well. Adrian Tubakovic made a stop there too. Another driver from St. Clair. So that should, that is not Pierce Hanley. That is Adrian Tubakovic. All right, the white car, he's put on alternates for these final 9 laps. And we'll see if he can make up some time that way. This battle's now for the 6th spot. Crump and Barkins not getting away from each other side by side. Crump maybe trying to look to the outside to get a crossover on corner exit.
And to be honest, coming around that corner, I think running around the outside is not a good move, especially this late in the race. You have on old tires, you're on alternates. It's not a great move to try and run around the outside, especially when you know that car's going to get a little bit loose coming through it. As you can kind of see him kind of a little bit too far of a distance, just making that outside move. As we see again here, it is just not a good move, especially when that car gets upset. Those old tires.
It's one of those moves that's tempting, right? The track kind of brings you in and it begs you to try to get that late apex and that hairpin kind of corner. And it's not necessarily that it's banked, but it's got a little bit of a slant to it. And it's kind of a negative camber corner, just does not work for that move, gets the car unsettled. And I think we're really, really seeing that with the way that this new IndyCar, new update to the IndyCar that iRacing has made. Looking farther up through the field, Thomas Crump in the pits. So is Cale Davidson. Drivers making their final stops as Birkin's able to put a little bit of breathing room on Monroe.
You kind of see that transition now coming into effect from that lap 19 to lap 22. Just a little bit of fuel, a little bit of tires, just try and make it through the end of the race. I don't think that rain's going to kick in until maybe just right on the last lap, as you kind of shoot right for that pit stop. Kind of get that early cut on that other car, Mr. Riley Birkins.
Yeah, we'll see if the undercut can do anything. Get that cold tires out lap out of the way early, and then try to go chase down that 33 car. That's the strategy for Matthew Monroe. It's back out on track. Here's Ricky Paz. He has yet to make a second stop of the day, as spinning across the track goes Thomas Crump. I don't know if there was contact, but we've got a replay of it here. This is through Eau Rouge, and it's going to be the right sides on the curb. And a little bit of damage to the right front. Could have been a lot worse, but Crump's day has gone from a little bit of falling down the running order to a lot bit of falling through a gravel trap.
We kind of see him just running down, bad day to worse, as he's been just kind of falling down, trickling through the order. It's just not been going good. He may have just slightly sneaked past a little bit of damage. I didn't think I saw any damage happen to his front wing. I think it maybe just a little bit of a kiss on those wheels and tires. Doesn't look like he has any wheel damage. You kind of see his wheel normally, so I think he may have just squeaked on by with no damage.
And something did happen to that 03 car, Pierce Hanley, that we've been following all day, the rookie, and not entirely sure what it is. That car had been knocked down the running order and out of the race at the moment on pit road with some repairs being done to the 03 machine. Logan McKim-Zachary would have gone a lap down just on pace, but whatever it was for the 03 was an issue with, I believe, some damage. As we are riding along board with Ricky Paz as he chases Adrian Tubakovic from St. Clair College. And it says something on that spoiler. I want Ricky to get close enough so I can read it. I know it's a special paint scheme for Tubakovic. Talked about it a little bit over the summer. And it's got a special message on there. So I can't read it. We're going to maybe get a chance here. But no, Paz is going to ruin my fun and swing to the inside and make the pass. That is for the 8th spot. But Tubakovic on pace right now to have his best career finish in the FC Series, and he is not going to settle with the 8th spot. Paz goes way off track, and it's going to be probably a slow down penalty for Ricky. He pulls out of the way. He's going to serve that penalty, have to give the spot back to Tubakovic. Both these drivers on alternates fighting it out with 8 laps to go.
I believe you're going to have another chance to read that spoiler. I think Ricky Paz heard you and it was just trying to give you another chance at reading that spoiler. You got to be a little bit quicker than that.
We'll see if Paz makes another charge. The 19 car has been really, really fast all day. Qualified well, ran up front the first couple of laps before, of course, the incident in the chicane, if you will. Unfortunately, my feed is a little bit blurry on my end, and I think the font is a little bit too scrolly. So I may never know what it says as. That is Stell Beasley hard into the wall right in front of the leader, Muhammad Alif, at the end of the Kennel Straight. That was a really close call for the 70 car. He's got it back rolling. It was a little bit ago, and there was some contact there, I think, with the 027 of Zachary Witt. And that may have been, I think, some net code. I don't know if there was really any contact between those cars. The 2 drivers from Delaware, you can see riding along with Witt. Yeah, I don't think they ever came together. But a really interesting moment when Beasley got back on track. We're going to be able to ride along with Ricky Paz now, going back to the live feed. Paz has got around.
I think the last time I've seen him come around, I believe I caught what it said on the rear of his spoiler, Mr. Tubakovic. believe it said something along the lines of "See you in Sunnyside Valley," if I may not be mistaken. May just have to take another look if he gets close to him again.
So we are seeing those chat messages that you guys are putting up there. Ohio State not racing tonight, but they will be racing on Monday. And a lot of cheering for Ricky Paz, your current FC points leader. He's going to need a few more spots if he wants to maintain that for a second consecutive week. He's gotten to Kovic, and he's trying to hunt down Ryan Barkins now for the 7th spot. Barkins up, I'm showing 10 spots now since the start of this race. It's a really impressive run for the driver from Alabama. Adam Willoughby bringing it into the pits. That should be his final stop of the day. And he is the last one to make a stop. He and Jake here pitting with 6 laps to go. They've decided that there is probably not going to be rain before this race gets done. It gets finished up quick enough that we've basically beat the clouds. So the only driver left to bring it down the pits is our Muhammad Alif. At the moment, a 28-second stop. A pit stop should take less time than that. So the race is essentially his. I believe Edwin Onofre has yet to pit as well. Haven't seen the 199 made a second stop yet. But other than those two, everybody done with service for the day. And it's 6 laps to go here at Spa.
You kind of see our Muhammad Alif just running away with that victory. I think if nobody messes him up and on his line, and if he can stick with it, I think he's going to be coming down pit roads very successful. Coming down from pole, ran away from lap 1 and just kind of off in his own world. Hasn't had to find anybody. The only time he's ever come close to anybody was that 70 car that spun, where he was kind of feared for his life there. Kind of saw some flashbacks. But other than that, he's just been off in his own world, running his own little races. He makes his way down to pit road for his final stop. I was wrong. I'm sorry. He is going to be turning up to making a 2-stop. I guess my predictions are not all right today.
Hey, that's okay. It's your first time up here in the booth. You were good about the final. You got the final corner right, and you did pick a leaf at the beginning of the race. So, yeah, good stuff there. Of course, what we typically do see from our Muhammad Alif on these road courses, he's got his checklist. He wants the pole. He wants the fastest lap. And then he wants the race win. Didn't get the fastest lap at Sebring. Lost that to his teammate, Cale Davidson here. This is going to be a little bit interesting. I believe that's Logan McKim. McKim just getting back on the lead lap as our Muhammad Alif blends back onto the track on cold tires. So Alif is going to get a little bit of that toe, but he may have a little bit of a sketchy moment. He also blended just in front of... somebody, I'm not entirely sure who that is, right behind the 12 car. So our Muhammad Alif finding himself in a little bit of lap traffic at the moment. Shouldn't have much difficulty navigating it. Less than 5 laps to go. No real reason to fight for it. Going to look to the inside of McKim here. But with a 7-second lead, all the room in the world to be patient. And McKim is going to give it to him here. Saw the blue flag. Good move from McKim to let him go.
Absolutely. I think that may just be Matthew Monroe right behind him. I know you were kind of saying you don't know who that is right behind him. I believe that is the number 4.
Aaron Gosler, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's out here running around. Pierce Hanley got knocked out of the race, so if Gosler can complete a couple more laps, he will be able to take the 18th spot. Driver for KSU.
If you're that low, you got to take whatever spot you can grab whenever you're out here for blood. You've had a kind of a tough race, tough break on the first track. Be a very international track, Spa-Francorchamps. That being said, our very first time being here at Spa with our Muhammad running away. And when you're this far back, the only hope you got is just to take home what you got and hope you can make another day.
Yeah, every single position inside the top 25 does add points. So that's something to think about as well. Gosler gets the 18th spot as Matthew Monroe has been lapped, but he is still running. So Monroe just trying to finish this race out in the 17th spot. Here's a little bit of a battle going on. Nick Henley and Thomas Crump not too far apart, as Edwin Onofre has finally made his stop. The driver from UNT ran longer than just about anybody else, maybe hoping to catch a drizzle and throw on rain tires or something, but Onofre going to get knocked down the order. He'll probably go on alternates here and go full attack mode for the final 4 laps. Should be really fun to see if Onofre can get anything. He may have the opportunity to catch Cale Davidson for the 4th spot, but it's been a come from behind for Onofre. Still up 7 spots from where he started, as this battle not going quietly, looking for the last rung on the top 10 ladder. Henley going to have the inside on Crump into this corner, takes a big defensive line, swings out, clear the 016, but Crump has the opportunity for the crossover.
Absolutely. We kind of been seeing Thomas Crump on a little bit of a down spiral all race. You kind of heard us talk about it earlier today. He's just trying to crawl back and keep that top 10 in his belt, trying to bring home something to be happy about today, and it's just not working out so far, with Nick Henley fighting for his life with 4 to go, holding that inside with making Thomas Crump stay on the outside. He's kind of clear almost, it looks like, about, and he is clear of Mr. Nick Henley and gets that number 10 spot back, but will Nick Henley take it out of that top 10? Let's just find out.
Yeah, still plenty of opportunities, plenty of turns to go. 19 turns by 4 laps means a lot of chances for Henley to get around Crump, and these two are running down. I believe that's the 19 and the 38 just ahead of them. Paz and Tubakovic could get drugged back into this battle, so plenty of opportunities for Nick Henley if he wants a top 10. Just behind him, Brennan Lyman has gotten around Riley Birkin, so 12th for Lyman in his FC debut. Run a few cup races with us, but this is his first time in the open wheel car. Not doing half bad, as Nick Henley has a moment there on corner exit. Loses a lot of time, luckily doesn't lose the car. Able to save it, but he's going to have to take an opportunity to regroup. And coming up now with 3 laps to go, he's got to make sure he doesn't lose sight of that 016.
So you kind of see him fighting back for it. And I think in Thomas Crump's mind, he's thinking, man, I think I may have this top 10 down. I'm trying to hold it. Let's head down, get the laps in, and find everything I can to keep that top 10 spot under my belt to bring it home. And not let this 016 car by me. As we kind of switch over here to Ricky Paz fighting Adrian Tubakovic. Again, they've been fighting for the last, 10 laps now, Mr. Cade?
I mean, they've been going at it for a while. This spot has been up for grabs. This is the 8th position. Ricky Paz got it by going off track, had to serve that penalty to give it back to Tubakovic. We see Tubakovic on the push to pass. I don't know if Ricky has any of that left, but Paz going to take the defensive line. Tubakovic going to follow him, get a little bit of tow, but they both entered that corner really, really shallow, gave up some tenths in the middle of the corner, and that's allowing Crump to pull this one in. Talk about Thomas Crump, the up and down day he's had. At one point, he was almost facing the wrong way in Radion, and he has now brought himself into a battle for the 8th spot. Really good recovery out of the alumni from Clemson. I believe he's on the prime tire, these two on the alternate, so a little bit of grip advantage could go to Crump. First car he's got to deal with is Adrian Tubakovic from St. Clair. And regardless of what happens here, it'll be a good run for Tubakovic. Side by side.
All right, taking a sip of water as we're kind of sitting here on Thomas Crump, I believe. Is that still? I'm sorry, that is my mistake. We were sitting on Adam Willoughby with Cale Davison and Edwin Onofre sitting not too far off.
Yeah, this is that battle that we talked about earlier. Coming out of the pits, Edwin Onofre stayed out as long as he could to put on alts and have a dogfight to the end. He swings it wide, coming onto the long straightaway. A little bit of serpentine out of Willoughby trying to break the draft of 2 cars, but he's got Onofre and Davidson bearing down on him. Davidson, I think, wisely decides not to go 3 wide, but he had to concede the spot to Onofre. Now Edwin Onofre looking for the bottom slot on the podium. He may have an opportunity for Willoughby here, but Willoughby runs the defensive line, and Onofre's got to check up to avoid some contact, but he is still right there on the gearbox of the 022.
Absolutely. With Adam Willoughby, in his head, he's got to be thinking, man, I need to stave off Edwin Onofre and make Cale Davidson, them two fight just so I can try and run away. But it is not working with Cale Davidson kind of falling back. You kind of see him about 4/10 off of him. Fight off that Edwin Onofre.
Yeah, sorry, Davidson, one of the first cars to come to pit road to start his final stint, so he's certainly dealing with the older tires. Willoughby, on the other hand, is going to do everything he can for this final lap and a half. He still has Onofre behind him, but plenty of corners to go. Meanwhile, back up front, our Muhammad Alif has taken the white flag, presented by the Longland Corporation, Napa. Still battling for the 3rd spot, not going to affect the top 2. Alif and Cummings have run away with it, but this spot has been anything but decided. Willoughby side by side, nearly contact there. They get really close on exit. There's the switchover, and at the line, it's Onofre, but only by half a car length. He's going to hold Willoughby to the bottom. Now swing wide for the entrance into turn 1, and not quite clear. Davidson nearly into the bumper of Willoughby.
Absolutely. You kind of see Adam Willoughby, he's got to let that Edwin Onofre by. Just with fresher tires, you're on older tires, trying to hold on to whatever position you can with the last lap to go as we're kind of coming on to the Camel Straight.
And they go side by side once again. No, Onofre slams the door, and it looks like he's going to have more grip to that corner to run away. So once again, it is 1 lap to go, presented by the Longland Corporation. For all your car, truck, SUV needs, get the Napa know-how with the Longland Corporation. Also, sponsor of today's race, the Hotstone Hustle Grand Prix, presented by the Longland Corporation. So we thank them for their support. We thank you for watching our Muhammad Alif working himself through the final couple complexes of corners. It has been exactly the day that he has wanted and exactly the way that he has wanted to do it. No incidents, clean laps. He's got the fastest lap of the day. A little bit of a moment there. I believe that was Zachary Witt. As he is going to come through the final chicane and get the power down. The driver from Ball State University is going to win the Hotstone Hustle Grand Prix. Farther back, Adam Willoughby has locked himself into the 4th spot here. Onofre running away with 3rd. A little bit behind them, though, Ricky Paz finds himself in a battle as Jake Cummings will take the 2nd rung on the podium. Comes up just a little bit shy. There is Edwin Onofre, who was able to grab 3rd. Here's Ricky Paz under fire from Thomas Crump. He's gotten around the 016. That looks like Nick Henley in the battle as well. Crump may have one final shot here. This is going to be a battle all the way to the checkers. Paz on the defense as much as he can be. Now here goes Crump. Fires it off to the inside. He's going to have to make Ricky work for it in the final chicane. And it's one of those hold your breath moments as Paz has the inside. He runs a little bit.
And they're both off.
He gets over the curb and around.
And Crump's around. Crump is around.
And that car is stuck. The undercarriage is locked on that sausage curb. And Thomas Crump, I think in the bottom right-hand corner, is not saying nice things on the radio. Ricky Paz brings it in the 8th spot. Nick Henley 9th. Adrian Tubakovic, I believe that's his first career top 10. And it comes at the expense of a car that has been beached. Such a great run for Thomas Crump gone wrong. That'll drop him to 13th, the last car on the lead lap. So we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll have a race recap and interviews after this short break. Welcome back to the Hotstone Hustle Grand Prix. Finishing up here with our interviews of our top three. Starting it off with Edwin Onofre, third overall, first in the alumni category. It's been a really, really good season so far for you, Edwin. You're keeping the momentum going here in the FC race. Talk to us about how that one went down.
I was really hoping that there was going to be immense monsoon type of rain, but it seems like as the race progressed, the clouds just started to go away and had no interest of pouring it down here. So I was like, all right, well, I might as well just go full send. And full send I did indeed, because I only had like the last 10 minutes of practice and I didn't even do 5 laps. So I just gotta say that just a hell of a run that I just did there from 12th to P3. That was something amazing.
It seemed to work out for you really well. I was going to ask about the rain, but I know your thoughts on that one now. I do want to ask that strategy call at the end there. You were a couple of seconds behind Adam and Kale. Did you know that you were going to catch him, or was that a little bit of a Hail Mary shot there at the end?
A little bit of both. I figured that if I was gonna catch up to them, I might as well just try to push my hardest once I get into the alts because I've been running the primary since the start of the race. And when the rain was not a threat, I figured if I saved a little bit of fuel just being right behind them, then it should be able to help me out reduce the pit stop time. And it really helped out too, because I was told that the alts was going to wear out very quickly. And luckily, I only had 4 laps after my last pit stop to really push it in and made for some great racing, I hope, because all of that got on broadcast, I hope.
It did, most of it. Definitely, you made it on there. You had a lot of highlights tonight for sure, so hope you're able to go back and watch this one with a smile on your face.
Oh, it's a bigger smile than Joker.
Well, while we've got you up here, we do want to ask, is there anybody you want to shout out or anybody you want to thank?
Oh, first and foremost, shout out to Tech Sport Racing. Thank you for letting me be a part of their esports team. Shout out to the Okano Motorsports gang, who I was in voice chat just a few minutes ago, and we all had our highs and lows. But Jay Cummings is one of them, and he's also my Tech Sport teammate, so he's gonna give a shout out. Last but not least, actually I got a few more, but I'll make it quick. University of North Texas, that's where I graduated from. My coworkers at Discount Tire for although we had a rough day today, near the end of our day, they all kept a positive momentum for the next few days. So I'm glad to be with them. And last but not least, my family for continuous support of them. Oh yeah, and don't forget shout out to my Twitch chat. Hi guys, how you doing? And last but not least, the biggest ones to you guys, the ones watching right now in the broadcast booth. Thank you for putting on an amazing series.
Well, thank you so much. It was fun to watch out there. Congratulations on winning the alumni category for tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week after another podium.
All right, see you then.
Awesome. Now we're going to talk to Wesley Shaw standing by with Jake Cummings.
Absolutely. So, welcome in, Jake Cummings, for the second place. That's another week that you're doing very well. We kind of seen you doing all great all season, starting from third, going into second. What were your thoughts going into this race?
My thoughts were where was the rain, but I'm sure everyone's been saying that. So, yeah, it was funny because I mean, I didn't even know it was going to rain until a few days ago, and then I was like, oh, shoot, better practice for that. Did the practice and didn't practice any dry, and then it's like, oh, hey, less rain now. So I was like, oh, I feel
Absolutely, man. I know we were really excited here in the booth to see all that rain, but it kind of seems to be a very series-wide expressment of disappointment seeing that there was no rain today. I know we were especially looking forward to it. Uh, Man, what'd you think of doing once you realized there was no rain coming into that?
well, to be honest, I have so much fun and experience with Spa. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks. So I wasn't really too worried about getting up to pace on the dry. It didn't take very long, but uh, I I mean I got the jump on Adam at the start, and then it was just limiting the mistakes. And yeah, I mean the alts really fell off there after just a couple laps, so that helped me stay with the lead for the first half or so. I guess like the first 2/3 of the race, just about. But yeah, there was never any real chance. But it was fun. It's a fun track to drive, and doing it in the IndyCar for the first time is a fun new experience. So yeah, it was just fun.
Absolutely, man. So one last thing to end off for you. You have anyone you want to shout out or anyone you want to thank as well?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife, who's probably in the living room chilling and hearing me say that, for supporting me. I want to thank Converse Esports, and I also want to thank Tech Sport Racing for our Sim Team Alliance with them to get Sim Racer butts into seats. Yeah, just a whole bunch of good stuff going on right now. A lot of positive momentum and a lot to be happy about.
Alrighty, well, that was our second place finisher, Jake Cummings. Again, we hear another tech sport driver. We're going to give it back over to Cade Corbin as he interviews Mr. R. Muhammad Alif, our race winner.
Muhammad Alif, welcome back up here. Congratulations on your second win of the season. Was there anything that was a little bit different about this one, or did it feel like more of the same?
I was wishing it was gonna rain. I mean, I think the forecast had been set to a wet race throughout the week and before, but I think it got changed last minute. I think it was yesterday or day before. So yeah, kind of bummed out that it was it was a full on dry race. But at the same time, I'm glad I haven't done a 44 lap race because I think that was the original plan. So yeah, 44 lap race would have killed I think the whole field. So yeah, glad I didn't do that.
Well, so talk to me about the preparation process. Even though it didn't actually rain, certainly knowing that you've got a potential for a wet track, how does that change, you and the rest of that Ball State team? How does that change your procedures throughout the week now that you've basically got two different conditions to practice for?
I mean, yeah, we did the whole week of practice in the rain. I was teaching them what lines to use. In the rain you have to use very different lines to win or to go fast. So I was kind of coaching my team throughout that. But then when it turned to dry, I think it was too soon, or I mean too quick in terms of when we knew it was going to be a full dry race. So at that point, it just came to adapting. And I mean, I love Spa. I've done couple thousand laps around Spa, I think, across all the sims. So I mean, in the drive for me, it was no problem because I love this track, especially in a Formula type car. But I think it was a struggle for the rest, just because they haven't really driven this car in the IndyCar in the dry. So yeah, I mean, at least we got the win, and yeah.
Well, congratulations once again, and congrats to all the BSU drivers who ran out there today. I know you guys looking forward next week to Michigan, so we're excited to see how y'all do then. And before we let you go, here's anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, my whole team, all my teammates who showed up and raced today. Special shout out to Matthew. I think it was his first race. He's one of our newest academy guys that we have. We have 4 new academy guys that you guys hopefully will see us racing. Also want to thank our esports directors, PK and Dan. Dan being our director, PK being our assistant director. The whole school and my family back home. So thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And that was your overall race winner and student class winner, R. Muhammad Alif. I think the way that it's going to shake out, it should just barely give him the points lead back. We'll have that updated for you some point this week over on collegiateiRacingLeague.com if you want to go check that out. But until then, we're getting ready for next week's race, which is 250 miles out at Michigan International Speedway. That'll be our second oval race of the season. Last week was crazy, and last year's race at Michigan was crazy as well. Aiken Lamar stealing the win on the last lap. So we're looking for more dramatic moments like that this season. That will be next Thursday on the same YouTube channel at the same time. So that'll be 8:45 Eastern with a 9 p.m. Eastern green flag. And for all you guys in Central Time, that race will be starting at 8 p.m. So if you're looking for more CIL action, come out and join us then and see how this championship fight plays out. But if you need to get a little bit of a CIL fix before then, the Cup Series will be racing at the new Echo Park Automotive Speedway on Monday. That race will be at 9 Eastern, 8 Central as well. And then the same time, same channel on Wednesday, our multi-class sports car series will be racing on the road course at Indianapolis. So that being said, we should have our results from this race. We know we talked to our top 3, but we have the complete lineup for you here. So we wrap things up here at Spa. We're getting that pulled up. Of course, in the first spot, Muhammad Alif, 18 seconds ahead of Jake Cummings. Big gap back to Edwin and Ofre, but then it was a battle for that first place in the alumni category. As there is a beautiful picture in my way. There it goes. Get it out of here. Alakazam. Adam Willoughby in the 4th spot. Cale Davidson rounds out the top 5. Good recovery there for the 2-car. Keegan Callick from St. Clair College has a great run in the 6th spot. And Ryan Barkins, a great run from Alabama Tuscaloosa in 7th. Ricky Paz finds a way to bring it back 8th, just ahead of Nick Henley from Ball State. And Adrian Tubakovic for St. Clair College is able to get his first career top 10.
And moving on out to the top 20, we have in 11th place, Brennan Lyman. Shout out to the Longland Corporation, sponsor of this race for the Hotstone Hustle. Along with Napa for Brennan Lyman. Moving into the 12th spot, we have Riley Birkins for the New England College. That's another driver to shout out there. Number 13, Thomas Crump, who had a very tough day today, up and down, ending up out in 13th when he was fighting for 3rd. Moving into 14th, our first lap car down, the University of Delaware, Zachary White, as well as 15, again with our University of Delaware, going to be Stell Beasley. And at number 16th, we have Matthew Monroe from Ball State. Number 17, we have Logan McKim from St. Clair, and that is the rounding out of our 1 lap down. And moving into our 5 laps down, we have some DNFers, being number 18, Aaron Gosler from Kansas State. 19th at Pierce Hanley from Auburn, and rounding our top 20 with that Wyatt Burton in 20th place, 17 laps.
And in the 21st spot, with that unfortunate incident on pit road, ran out of fuel. There was no way for Burton to get out of the way, so that knocked Jake Dick down to the 21st position, and his teammate Dylan Beatty had trouble on the 11th lap and wound up last in the field. Williams, Kampfer, and Vela did not make the start. But that will round out your field for today. So we wrap it up here from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Wesley, thank you for joining us tonight. It was a lot of fun to have you up here in the booth. Any big takeaways for you?
Absolutely. I know for a fact this race was very much fun. It was an absolute blast to sit here and cast with you up here in the booth. I know I had a lot of fun tonight watching one heck of a race being put on by the Longland Corporation for this Hotstone Hustle. I know it was a lot of fun being here for the first time at Spa. And one last hip hip hooray for Muhammad Ali for bringing home that win. I hope to see another great race next week. And just to say, my picks for that number 1 at Muhammad Ali are correct.
Yeah, you definitely did not bring a commentator's curse with you, which is really, really good because we've seen some bad ones of those in the past. But as Wesley said, hopefully you'll join us next week. Should be a fantastic race at Michigan, another oval, high-speed pack racing. Definitely a different type of chaos than the close corners, tight corners that we saw today at Spa, but nonetheless more exciting FC action next Thursday. So that's all from us here up in the booth. The Hotstone Hustle Grand Prix presented by the Longland Corporation, Napa, won by Muhammad Alif and Ball State University. So have a great evening, and from all of us here in the Collegiate iRacing League, good night.
Good night.